and this is the NFL Premium Podcast with your co-host, Jake. And this is a special edition of the NFL Premium Podcast. Not doing our normal game of the week this week. Overall, I thought week 16, 2 more games to go, then we got playoffs. Might as well start talking about these teams coming in playoffs, hopes in general for some the AFC, NFC teams. Just an overall crucial games that happened this week, changing and flip-flopping the divisions. 3 out of 4 of the divisions had that leader change. And then I guess talk a little more about the AFC conference. 3 out of 4 of their teams actually clinched their division. A little bit opposite between the NFC and the AFC, but overall, just good football. Then maybe talk a little about some MVPs this year. Maybe did Rodgers take a hit? I think so, personally. Is Watt MVP? I don't think so, but we'll get into that later. But right now, what I wanted to talk about is this NFC conference in general. It is not what I expected. I was not expecting to be this close with all of them. Right now, sitting on top of NFC East, Dallas instead of Philly. After that Thanksgiving game with that brutal beatdown of Philly to Dallas, I was thinking Philly has a run of this division. They have there's no way that they can lose this. It's in their hands. But 2 crucial losses to Seattle and the Cowboys skyrocketed them down to second. Ended up flip-flopping over the Sunday night game between Dallas. Crucial win for them, holding it in the fourth quarter, even though that ferocious comeback with the Eagles. It honestly, I did not think this was going to happen with Dallas lead. Even though they had that huge strong run in the midseason to earlier season, they went on that losing streak a little bit 3/4 into the season. You were thinking they may be out of this in general, but they came back with the crucial win against Philly. Now Philly's hoping that the Colts come in, or they're hoping that they'll give this Dallas team a loss. And I guess give more of hopes for their playoff chances, because Philadelphia right now is sitting at that 7th seed. So they need help from a lot of different factors, I guess you could say, because that wild card also is a very hard one with the Packers and Seattle, both at 10-4, both wild card. You're thinking, what happened to the Packers this week? They easily had the North in their hands. They had a 1-game lead over Detroit. They seemed like they had, and they were playing the Bills, but a complete different result than I expected. The Bills completely shut down that Aaron Rodgers offense, completely shut down him in passing. Easily give compliment to the Bills, shutting down Peyton Manning for 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, and doing the same to the probable Aaron Rodgers, 0 touchdown, 2 picks when he came in with only 3 picks the whole entire year. But that one game changed the whole standings. Ended up dropping Green Bay down and Detroit up. Even though both are at 10-4, Detroit has the lead of this division because they had that early tiebreaker with that win against Green Bay at Ford Field early in the season. So the NFC North seems like it's coming down to Week 17 because both matchups are favorable between Detroit and Green Bay for Week 16, and then Green Bay and Detroit play each other in Week 17 at home. I really think Green Bay needs this. They need to win this. They may have lost their hopes for, I guess you could say, a home field advantage, which is crucial, which is something that the Packers really needed. 7-0 at home seemed like any time a team could come in and would come in, that they could offensively and mostly defensively demolish them, run up the score in the early half. But losing that key game to the Bills dropped them 3-4 at home, overall record of 10-4, which easily catapulted them down to talking about only 2nd or 3rd seed in the NFC in general. We're talking the Arizona Cardinals have the lead and easily could clinch home field advantage. But me personally, I think Seattle's going to end up winning that NFC West division. Arizona's at 11-3, Seattle's at 10-4, but Arizona is just decimated with injuries. They cannot, I think, win that division. And with that matchup against Seattle later, the next game or two, I think that's going to be just the changer. Even though Arizona did clinch their playoff spot, They're not going to have home field advantage. I don't think they're going to make a far run in the playoffs. That defense is superb. That secondary with Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, which is actually out, but Cromartie, it seemed like overall that secondary was going to demolish and that defense was going to go far, but just poor play and the loss of Carson Palmer affected them. Drew Stanton got hurt. They're going with the third string quarterback, easily going to change up a lot. Offense, I don't think, is going to have much production. And overall, Seattle's going on a hot streak. Earlier did bad this season, but they're showing up right now. They seem like the contenders in the NFC. They seem like the best team in the power rankings. I think they're number one in the NFC right now. That's mostly those powerhouses. But one thing I thought I would just bring to attention is this NFC South division, full of just awful teams. All of them sitting at below 500 records, 6-8, 5-8, 5-9. New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta. Good ball clubs, I guess you could say, but not enough. I don't think should make the playoffs. But because of the way the division works, one of them are going to make it. I think that it's going to come down to either Carolina or New Orleans to win this. It's the Saints' division to lose, to be perfectly honest. I think they have a decent amount of I guess, offense and defense of talent to, I think, prevail to win that division. The Falcons look depleted, and I think that that Week 17 game would go to Carolina, which would end up becoming second or maybe even the lead division, depending on how the Saints handle these next two games. It's going to change a lot, but yeah, just overall flip-flop. Dallas and Philly flip-flop for the I guess you could say, lead of their division. Detroit and Green Bay flip-flopped, and New Orleans and Atlanta flip-flopped. Atlanta dropped all the way to third, even though they were in first, just with that one loss, which was a crucial loss. And Arizona's still sitting at top of their NFC West division with Seattle at second. San Francisco overall eliminated from the playoffs, so they're a non-factor, but could, I guess, may not be. They may be a non-factor in, I guess, overall playoffs for their team, but they could be a factor in overall that division who might win that, because they have some key crucial games in the NFC West division. Could shake it up if they get some wins. But overall, complete difference, and instead of switching the division leaders in the conference, AFC completely did the opposite. The Patriots, Colts, and Broncos all clinched their division. All guaranteed a playoff spot. They're just really playing for home right now, which it seems like New England's gonna, as long as they can beat a tough opponent in the Bills in Week 17, then it seems like they overall have it down in general. They're sitting at 11-3, even if both Denver and New England went out both 11-3 record. Denver would have the tiebreaker over, New England would have the tiebreaker over Denver, which would easily change a lot, because New England 7-0 at home, just completely demolishing their opponents at home, leaving them no choice. I mean, they're still 4-3 on the road, decent, but you could easily tell this is a different ball club at home. They function a little different. They play a higher game. They play better, and it seems like they have that home field advantage. They clinch the home field advantage, and the AFC Championship goes through Foxborough. Then they easily could be talking about another Super Bowl run. Denver, as long as they play it safe, they keep winning their games with their balanced offense between Manning and their running back. I think it easily should be they already have their division locked up, and I think if they keep doing what they're doing, and the AFC East division, the Patriots, they end up having a loss, and that would change a lot. But to be perfectly honest, I think New England's basically got this. They have their home field advantage basically in their hands. It'd be very hard to let them slip away unless they lose that crucial game in Week 17 against the Bills. AFC North is completely different. No one clinched. None of the teams in there, any of the four teams, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, none of them have clinched their division lead or their spot. Just a wacky division in general. Cincinnati sitting at 9-4, Pittsburgh sitting at 9-5, Baltimore sitting at 9-5, and Cleveland at 7-7. Cleveland a non-factor, mostly. Maybe that's mostly the reason why is just poor play of Brian Hoyer, and that's why Manziel's getting the start, which came out with a terrible game. But Baltimore 9-5 easily seems like they get in the playoffs. They could easily be a huge contender in general. Pittsburgh is very good. Cincinnati, I think they get in the playoffs. They win that division. They're out the first round. That team is not built for the playoffs. Andy Dalton is a completely different person in the playoffs. It's just completely ridiculous how much it changes from him in the regular season having these spectacular games to having these terrible games in the playoffs. Their last year loss against the Chargers, throwing his picks, his touchdown interception ratio was just awful in general. He's a completely different person, but the two dark horse candidates you have to think about is the wildcard teams, which could be Buffalo. That team is very dangerous right now. If they make it in the playoffs, they could be a dangerous team. They have poor performance for their quarterback and their offensive wide receivers, but that defense is just completely dominant, shutting down Peyton Manning, having 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, doing the same thing to Aaron Rodgers,